In a world where stories of possession are often met with skepticism and dismissed as hoaxes, there emerged a haunting case that left even law enforcement with lingering doubts. It was the chilling Ammons family haunting of Gary, Indiana, which unfolded in 2011, and it captured the attention of seasoned police captain Charles Austin. With over 3 decades of experience in the Gary Police Department, Captain Austin had seen it all, or so he thought. When he was assigned to investigate the bizarre claims of LaToya Ammons, her mother Rosa Campbell, and her 3 young children, he initially brushed it off as an attempt to swindle money from the public. But as he made multiple visits to the Ammons home, his skepticism began to wane. The Ammons family's disturbing narrative of being tormented by a vicious demonic presence seemed too surreal to be true. Yet there was something unnerving about the details they provided. Intrigued and hesitant, the police, alongside the Department of Child Services, delved into the enigmatic occurrences within the house, meticulously compiling nearly 800 pages of official documents. These records only scratch the surface of the spine-chilling events described by the witnesses involved, leaving one to wonder what truly transpired during the harrowing Ammons family haunting. The haunting of the Ammons family began with the flies. LaToya, the family's matriarch, recollected this peculiar occurrence as the catalyst for the bizarre events that followed. Moving into a quaint rental house in November of 2011, they couldn't have predicted the impending nightmare. Their serene home's screened-in porch became infested with an alarming number of large black flies by December. Oddly enough, these pests persisted despite the cold weather, returning relentlessly after each attempt to eliminate them. Yet, the eerie happenings didn't end there. LaToya and Rosa, her mother, experienced spine-tingling moments, especially around the basement area. They claimed to hear heavy footsteps ascending the basement stairs, even when the door leading to the kitchen remained locked. One night, Rosa awoke to a chilling sight: a shadowy figure pacing in the living room. The ghostly presence left behind large, wet boot prints in its wake, deepening their unease. As the family's anxiety grew, their fear reached a boiling point when the entity began to focus its malevolence on the innocent children. The once small concerns transformed into an overpowering terror that would forever alter the lives of the Ammons family. While the true nature of these occurrences remains uncertain, the intensity of their shared delusion or potential demonic possession remains etched in their memories, forever haunting them. In the early hours of March 10th, 2012, the Ammons family found themselves grappling with grief following a recent loss of a loved one. LaToya, her 12-year-old daughter, and her daughter's friend were in her mother's bedroom when a chilling incident unfolded. LaToya cried out for Rosa, her mother, as they discovered the 12-year-old girl levitating over the bed, unconscious. Instinctively, the Ammons family surrounded the bed, fervently praying for an explanation and a resolution. As the young girl slowly descended back to the bed, she awoke with no recollection of what had just transpired. The visitors present that night refused to return, unsettled by the inexplicable event. LaToya and her mother were left grappling with uncertainty about the forces at play within their home. They turned to churches for help, seeking someone who could comprehend the supernatural ordeal they were facing. However, most churches dismissed their claims, leaving them feeling alone in their terrifying experience. Finally, one church offered advice after visiting their home and acknowledging the presence of spirits. The Ammons were instructed to cleanse their home meticulously. Armed with bleach and ammonia, they scrubbed every surface, then marked each door and window with crosses made of oil. Seeking further protection, LaToya painted crosses on her children's foreheads and anointed their hands and feet with olive oil. Desperate for relief, the family consulted 2 clairvoyants. These enigmatic specialists delivered chilling news, claiming that over 200 demons had infested their residence. Faithful to their Christian beliefs, LaToya and Rosa found themselves willing to accept this haunting revelation. The clairvoyants urged them to move, but financial constraints left them with no other choice but to stay. In a bold attempt to repel the malevolent entities, LaToya constructed an altar in the basement, a sacred table draped in white, adorned with a white candle and a statue of Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. Clad in white shirts and scarves, LaToya and another individual performed a cleansing ritual throughout the house, burning sage and sulfur while reciting Psalm 91 from the Bible. For a brief period, the house was filled with blissful silence, offering a glimmer of hope. But that respite was short-lived, and a new wave of terror awaited the Ammons family as their ordeal plunged into deeper, more malevolent depths. As the terrifying events continued to escalate, LaToya became convinced that her 3 children, ages 7, 9, and 12, were under the malevolent grip of demons. She described their appearances as haunting, with bulging eyes and evil smiles. Her mother, Rosa, affirmed that the children's voices deepened when the strange energy overtook them. Rosa believed herself to be immune to the possession, as she was born with a unique protection against evil. However, LaToya had a different experience. She felt a chilling warmth and lightheadedness when the demons took hold of her, leaving her trembling and feeling completely powerless. The youngest son, only 7 years old, began sitting alone in a closet, talking to someone unseen by others. This invisible entity described the horrors of murder to the child. On another occasion, he came flying out of the bathroom, seemingly tossed by an unseen force. And LaToya's 12-year-old daughter suffered injuries requiring stitches after being hit by a headboard. Her daughter also claimed that an invisible force would hold her down and choke her, while a sinister voice threatened her life, warning her she wouldn't see her family for much longer. A startling incident was documented by the Department of Child Services, DCS, when the Ammons family requested their physician, Dr. Onyokwu, to visit their home. The situation took a terrifying turn. Both of LaToya's sons began cursing in demonic voices, and to everyone's shock, the youngest son was lifted into the air without anyone touching him, before being violently thrown against the wall. Both boys lost consciousness, and the hospital staff, unable to revive them, called for immediate medical assistance. Amid the chaos, no one knew what was unfolding. LaToya, desperate to protect her sons, attempted to anoint them with olive oil once again, but the hospital staff ridiculed her actions. Undeterred, she turned to the power of prayer instead. To everyone's relief, the 9-year-old awoke, seemingly back to normal. However, the youngest boy's awakening was far from peaceful. He woke up screaming and thrashing violently, requiring a team of 5 men to hold him down as he struggled against an unseen, sinister force. The Ammons family found themselves caught in a nightmarish battle with an unknown, malevolent entity that seemed to revel in tormenting their innocent souls. As their haunting ordeal continued, they clung to faith and hope, seeking an escape from the relentless grip of darkness that had engulfed them. A concerned individual made a call to the Department of Child Services, seeking an investigation into possible child abuse or neglect within the Ammons family. The anonymous caller suspected that the children were merely acting out for their mother, LaToya, who allegedly encouraged their behavior due to her own mental illness. Valerie Washington, the family case manager, arrived to assess the situation. To her relief, she found the children physically healthy and devoid of any harmful marks. A psychological evaluation of LaToya also revealed that she was mentally sound. However, during an interview with the youngest child, an unsettling incident occurred. The boy bared his teeth, growled, and rolled his eyes back into his head. Shockingly, he began strangling his brother, refusing to let go until adults intervened and pried him away. Later that evening, the boys were interviewed again with a nurse, Willie Lee Walker, present, along with their grandmother, Rosa. The 7-year-old continued growling, and in an eerie voice, uttered bone-chilling words. "It's time to die. I will kill you." In response, the middle child started headbutting his grandmother's stomach. Desperate, Rosa held his hands and began praying fervently. What happened next defied explanation. The 9-year-old boy wore an unsettling grin, walked backward up the wall until he reached the ceiling, and then flipped over Rosa to land on his feet. He never released his grip on his grandmother's hands. Valerie Washington, along with the nurse, was aghast at what she saw. She clarified that the boy's movement wasn't an acrobatic stunt. He simply glided upwards with unnerving ease. Filled with terror, she rushed out of the room, with the nurse following closely behind. The next day, the DCS made an unprecedented decision to take emergency custody of the Ammons children without a court order. Both LaToya and her children were devastated, already having endured so much, and now they faced the anguish of being separated from each other. In the morning of April 20th, 2012, Reverend Michael Maginot received an unusual request from a hospital chaplain to perform an exorcism on LaToya's 9-year-old son. Initially hesitant, Maginot decided to first interview the family to rule out any natural causes for the odd behavior. As LaToya and Rosa recounted their harrowing experiences, a chilling incident occurred. The bathroom light began to flicker mysteriously, stopping each time Maginot approached it. Maginot interpreted this flickering as a sign of a demonic presence, believing that the force might be wary of him. During the interview, the blinds in the kitchen started swaying without any apparent breeze. Additionally, Maginot claimed to witness wet footprints trailing through the living room. LaToya complained of a headache, and when Maginot pressed a crucifix to her forehead, she convulsed, a disturbing manifestation of an otherworldly force. After a 4-hour interview, Maginot was convinced that the family was not only tormented by demons, but also sharing their home with ghosts. He blessed the house before leaving and advised LaToya and Rosa to find another place to stay. As a result, they temporarily relocated to a relative's house. Less than a week later, they returned to the house for an inspection accompanied by the DCS case manager and Lake County Police. Out of curiosity, officers from the Gary and Hammond police departments also joined the tour, including Captain Charles Austin. While LaToya refused to enter the property, Rosa guided the officers through the house. She warned them about the demonic presence that seemed to occupy the space beneath the stairs. Captain Austin, who previously believed in ghosts but not demons, had a change of heart after that day. During their investigation, strange occurrences unfolded. An audio recorder malfunctioned, indicating dying batteries despite having been replaced before arriving. An unidentified voice whispered, "Hey," during an officer's recorded interview. They took photos while searching the house, and one image of the basement stairs revealed a cloudy white figure in the upper corner. Upon enlargement, the cloud seemed to resemble a face, and a second green image appeared, resembling a woman. Captain Austin had his own eerie encounters within the house. The garage door at the Ammons home refused to open, even with power. Photos taken on his iPhone displayed unexplainable silhouettes. Later, the radio in his police-issued Ford malfunctioned on his way home, and the seat in his personal Infiniti moved on its own. These chilling events left the investigators and officers stunned, questioning the nature of the unseen forces lurking within the Ammons family home. As the haunting tale continued to unfold, the line between the natural and the supernatural blurred, leaving everyone involved gripped by an inexplicable fear. On May 10th, LaToya, Rosa, Austin, and 2 other officers returned to the Ammons home after hours, accompanied by Reverend Michael Maginot, 2 Lake County officers, a police dog, and the new DCS family case manager, Samantha Illich. Illich volunteered to take over the task as Valerie Washington declined to return to the house. While a county officer and the police dog searched the premises, the canine showed no specific interest. Meanwhile, the rest of the group ventured into the basement. There, Illich encountered a strange, sticky liquid dripping from the ceiling. Maginot meticulously inspected the dirt beneath the stairs, searching for signs of a pentagram, cursed objects, or any evidence of potential burial. However, the excavation yielded no significant findings. In response, Maginot blessed salt and spread it beneath the stairs and around the basement in an effort to protect against the supernatural. Moving to the living room, Illich experienced an alarming physical reaction. Her pinky finger began to tingle and turn white, giving the sensation of being broken. A panic attack ensued, leaving her breathless and terrified. Overwhelmed, she rushed outside to wait for the others. As Maginot commenced questioning Latoya inside the house, she complained of a headache and shoulder pain, prompting her to join Illich outside. Fearing the encroaching nightfall, Austin refused to remain in the house and left before darkness settled. The other officers continued their investigation, and to their astonishment, they found a strange, oily substance dripping from the blinds in one of the bedrooms. Perplexingly, the substance appeared to manifest from nowhere. Despite wiping off the oil and sealing the room, when they returned just 25 minutes later, the mysterious substance had returned. Maginot attributed this to a manifestation of demonic presence, prompting him to seek permission from Bishop Dale Melchek to perform an exorcism. The haunting forces seemed to elude explanation, driving the investigators to seek spiritual intervention in their quest to comprehend the otherworldly phenomenon plaguing the Ammons family home. Initially, Maginot's request for a church-sanctioned exorcism was denied, and he sought guidance from Bishop Dale Melchek, who suggested exploring minor exorcisms that could be performed without church involvement. Consulting other priests, Maginot was surprised when they advised him to look up the procedure on the internet. Undeterred, Maginot proceeded with what he termed an intense blessing to expel the demonic energy and spirits. He also performed a minor exorcism on Latoya, involving fervent prayers and appeals to cast out the demons. This 2-hour ritual was witnessed by Illich and 2 police officers. In the aftermath of her visits to the Ammons home, Illich experienced a series of mysterious medical issues. Within a week, she suffered 3rd-degree burns from a motorcycle accident, followed by 3 separate incidents resulting in broken ribs, a hand, and an ankle within a month. Following the minor exorcism, Maginot advised Latoya to research the names of the demons that had attached themselves to her family. Each demon possessed a distinct personality, reflected by the challenges the family faced during this time. Despite technical difficulties and dizziness, Latoya persisted and discovered fitting names, including Beelzebub, the Lord of Flies. Finally granted permission by Melchek, Maginot performed a full-fledged exorcism, a more potent process empowered by the Catholic Church. Latoya endured 3 major exorcisms, 2 conducted in English and 1 in Latin. Throughout the harrowing ordeals, she convulsed as the demons seemingly resisted release, inflicting pain upon her. After the exorcisms, Latoya and Rosa relocated to a new home in Indianapolis, although the children remained under the care of DCS. Maginot blessed their new residence, seeking to prevent any future disturbances. Remarkably, no further reports of demonic activities surfaced after the Ammons family left their former home. In November of 2012, after approximately 6 months apart, Latoya was joyfully reunited with her children. They felt safer in their new home, and since then, there have been no further accounts of demonic disturbances. The Ammons family's tumultuous journey, entangled with the supernatural, appeared to have reached a much-needed conclusion, leaving them to rebuild their lives with newfound hope and strength.